The bigger you get, the more you have. The more you have, the more you need. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the new episode of Power. And we're just going to jump right into it. Shout out to you guys that watch my Power recaps. You've been sharing and commenting and things of that nature. That's how we keep it coming, keep it flowing. And I'm going to try to keep consistent with it as long as you guys are watching and showing interest. And don't forget that we do have other shows that we have in our rotation. Like we do have Catfish, which is on Tuesdays. We have Basketball Wives on Mondays as well. And we have Baddies that comes on Sundays. So we have quite a few shows that we have been doing. I've been out here, y'all. I've been out here. So definitely make sure you join the family if you're not yet part of the family. All right. So it looks like Lauren, she got hit pretty hard. They start to reveal a little more of her story because I'm like, y'all got to tell us what happened. Like, you can't just have us sitting here like, I wonder. Like, nah, we need a backstory. So Lauren, they actually had hit her in the head. Effie and Breyden, it looked like it was Effie that hit her in the head. They literally had her unconscious in the car and pushed this hoe into the river. Like, what? They was doing the most. So yeah, and some guy, luckily, while he was walking his dog, he saw the car in the river, and that's how they was able to like retrieve her or whatever. But she had amnesia, so she couldn't really remember anything that had happened. I did see a comment online that like not that long ago that was saying that what if Effie is actually like the informant now? Which is possible because remember, Jenny had said that somebody is working on the inside. And it's weird that like Effie keeps on inserting herself into everything. And then like later on in the episode, there was, we'll talk about that in a minute. And so Tariq, he made a good point when he was talking to Breyden because right now Tariq is in such a shit, like a pile of doo-doo, right? Because he's trying to get back into campus and he's having all these issues. Mind you, he wasn't convicted of anything. He wasn't found guilty of anything. But Breyden, who literally sat there and confessed and said that he was a drug dealer, created Course Correct. Homie is making 6 figures, with a good business, the family business. He's letting him know, like, you are privileged at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got things meanwhile, people like us are struggling. It's not so easy for somebody who looks like me, which is true. I've seen things where even at my old job, when I used to work in like HR, there could be a Caucasian person, and this is no shade, but it's just the truth, that has the same felonies as a black person, and the Caucasian person will end up getting the job over the black person. And it's not even because of their credentials or anything like that. It's just because they feel like this person may be less violent or whatever, or they just feel like this person will be more articulate or something along those lines. Like, they just look at this person different than they look at the black person, even though they may have the same drug crimes or they may have the same murder charge or whatever. This person will be able to go back into society a little bit easier than the other person would. Sad but true. Anyway, so Breyden, he was able to bag that chick that he was looking at. I forgot her name, but he was able to get her. She said something that low-key sounded like she was a little bit of a gold digger. So I was like, I'm not too sure about her, because I think she said, give me the money and I'll be here, or something along those lines. I don't remember what she said. I should have wrote it down, but yeah, I was just like, okay, little gold digger. She trying to make sure she secured her bag. I see you, mama. I see you. But I mean, he did go ahead and help her out, gain her trust, come through like the Avenger that he was. So it worked out. Now, Breyden, he was also able to get Tariq an internship at his family business because Tate kind of messed him. Somebody texted me out. Tate kind of messed him up because he was supposed to have an internship at Tate's place, in Tate's campaign, so that it can, bring his image up and things like that, and he could get the experience and credits that he needed in order to try to get this money, you know what I'm saying, that his dad put in his trust fund. But you know, he got to get a certain amount of credits and he got to finish college in order to be able to get this money. With that being said, so Breyden ends up hooking him up, even though his dad was so pissed off that he had him up in there. But Brashandria, she actually ended up taking Tariq's place on Tate's campaign. So, of course, he was upset about that, but yeah, he kind of played him with that one. But you know what? At the end of the day, like, it was crazy because come to find out, Breyden actually put a large sum of money into Tate's campaign, pretty much like bribery type of stuff, in order for him to choose Brashandria over Tariq, so that I guess Tariq can be a part of his crew and they could be back together again. You know, he could be close to him and they can continue to do the business that he's really wanting to do, because it gives him that white boy thrill. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives him a little bit of excitement outside of his normal, okay, family business, I'm a privileged white guy type of life. You know, it gives him a little bit of spice that he likes. Man, pure madness. Like, and plus on top of that, he did get expelled from the school. So this is the best way to keep Tariq close to him, you know? So Monet, she's still trying to avenge her son's death. And she was talking to Davis, trying to get some leads, but you know, it wasn't really getting her anywhere. But she's not playing around. Like, she's ready to take whoever it is down. Meanwhile, Lorenzo, he was there watching the whole conversation, even though he knows that he's the person that offed Zeke. So the TA, Salim, he looked like he definitely got a thing for Diana, and he made a good point when she was trying to like borrow some books from, I guess, like one of these rooms or the library or something. He was like, how come you have a Balenciaga bag, but you can't afford the books to put inside of it? Like, it was a little shady and a little forward, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's right. Like, some people, and that's the thing, like, some people, they have their priorities mixed up. Like, they want to have the look, but they can't afford certain things that are necessities. But yet, you get what you want, but not getting what you need to get, you know, that's more of a priority. So, but she said that her parents are footing the bill for her schooling, but not, I guess, for everything else. So he was like, you know, that makes sense. And I guess he's going to help to hook her up with getting a job or whatever, so that she can have it a little bit easier. I'm like, at the end of the day, like, they could give you money for them books, for real. Like, why would, all you gotta do is ask. But then she's not on the best footing with her mom. But I feel like she could ask her dad. But then at the end of the day, they not really, at that point, they wasn't really pushing weight. So I guess their money isn't flowing the way that it was before. Drew, he was on his way to go see his boo thing, because his boo thing was having like an event that he really wanted him to go to, even though he still wants him to remain a secret. You know, secret lovers on some sneaky link situationship type of stuff. But at first, Drew wasn't with it, but then he's like, you know what, I'm going to do it. But he ends up getting jumped. Well, not really jumped by, because you get jumped by multiple people, but beat up by somebody. You know, pretty much like roughed him up real good, face and all that, like stomped him out, you know. And this is for the little guap crew or whatever. So like I said, the guy tore him up pretty bad, and he could have literally killed him, or at least that's what I was initially thinking. But he wanted more so to leave him with a message that he could take back to his family. So Everett, the boo thing, wasn't really too happy with all of this. He was just like, nah. He was like, yo, look at my face. Like, he was literally trying to show him, like, I'm sorry. Like, look at me, though. I got beat up. And he's like, oh, what? By the people that beat you up outside the club that night? Like, I'm done with this life. He's like, I'm moving on, and I don't want none of this drama following me. And he's trying to, like, you know, get him back or whatever and win him over, but he just wasn't with it. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, you're not innocent in this either. Like, you want him to be there for you. You want him to do all these things, but you're also being selfish as well. And you knew who he was for quite some time. Like, don't get mad at who he is when you already knew who he was. Like, you accepted it now it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know his family, you know his lifestyle. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is, because he's sounding like he's no longer accepted. People do evolve and they do change. Now, Bianca, Jenny, and Kevin, the squad, the squad trying to get this Rico case, they're now looking at Monet, because Kevin had brought up a good point, when after he spoke with Monet, and the fact that he feels like she killed the professor, and Zeke had actually kind of professed it to him, like kind of told him, confessed that she was the one who did it, so they're trying to pin Monet now as the kingpin and not Tariq, because Jenny's really having a hard time pinning everything on Tariq, because he would have been so young when everything would have happened. So yeah, that's how that's going. So we'll have to see what's up with that pretty soon. So Effie, she's definitely, like I said before, she's kind of suspicious, because I saw her typing up something and it looked like either she's doing something sneaky on the background. So either she is over here trying to hide something, because it was something that was encrypted or coded, or she could be trying to create her own course correct app so that she can get things flowing real quick again, like how things was going before, on the campuses and all that. So she was doing something, and then Tariq had came in and she kind of like closed everything down, made believe like she was doing some work. So I don't know. You got to definitely watch that, Effie, because at the end of the day, like, she feels, it's crazy how, and the title, it's called Need versus Greed. Some of them are doing this because of greed, and some of them are doing this because they need it. Like, she feels like, it's like crazy how it's levels to this shit. Because Tariq, he feels like Breyden is the privileged one because he doesn't need to do it, but he does. And she feels kind of like he is the privileged one, like Tariq is privileged over her because she needs to do this, because she don't have the money coming in to pay for her loans and all these things, but he has money, or he's come from that type of life where he's more privileged than her. So it's crazy how like everybody kind of covets what the other person has, but it's like, even with her, somebody might look at her like, wow, like, I wish I could be like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know what, my whole thing is, you never know what people's going through. You know what I mean? Because you see people looking a certain way, dressing a certain way, you think that they're up there, but a lot of times you never know what they're doing in order to get to where they are. That's my little life lesson. So that dude, he ends up getting payback because the dude that beat up Drew, he ends up getting like he ends up getting it, okay, because they end up bringing him to Monet. Kane did it. Kane, big bro, he's gonna make sure his little brother gets avenged or whatever. Like, his brother is good. So he brought him to Monet, said that he's pretty sure that this is the dude that took, Kane's that killed Zeke. And he was the one who jumped Drew. So now everything's kind of coming together. He said he even found a chain that what's his name, that Zeke had. He had Zeke's ring, his championship ring on his chain. So things is just coming together now. Now we got a good story that we could tell Monet. This is the dude right here. And I really thought that Kane was like with this story. He's like, yeah, this is him. Come to find out, later on in the episode, Kane goes to see his father just in a secret location. They talking or whatever. And he tells him, he asks him a few questions. Then he's like, you know what? Like, I know what you did. He was like, I know that you're the one who killed Kane, that killed Zeke. And he was like, he's trying to act like he didn't know. He's like, first of all, the only way that this dude said that he was hired to beat up Drew. So that right there, and he was like, you don't have a poker face. I saw your face. So that's how we know, that's how I know that you did it. You hired him to beat up Drew to make it look like there was some type of gang war or something, or they was the ones, like they was still over, like doing this over little guap. Like, nah, that's not what it was. Then you gave him the ring that you found in the box with Zeke's things, because I never seen, Tariq ain't never wear that ring. Nobody ain't never wear that ring. He was like, it was always in the box. Zeke never had it on either. He was like, nobody ever wore it. So that's another thing. He was like, I've been watching Tariq. He never put that on. So he was like, that's another thing. So he was like, I know that you did it. So he was like, yo, like, I did. He pretty much like confessed and say like he did it by accident. He was actually trying to get Mecca and he thought it was him because it was on the private jet or whatever. He didn't know that it was gonna be Zeke. He said he would have never did that to the mom. He was like, you know what? Well, now that weight that I was telling you to do, because his dad was saying he wasn't going to push no weight for this Noma chick. He's like, nah, I'm not doing none of that. Like, I'm not working for nobody. He was like, now you're going to have to do it. He was like, now I own you. I was like, yo, how quickly the tables does turn, man. Because if he was to snitch and tell Monet what this dude did, like, family's over. His life is over. She don't care. Like, at the end of the day, like, that son of hers was her everything. Like, that was her meal ticket out. He was the golden child, you know? Even though she had to keep it a secret, he was so many things to her. Like, they were actually pretty close, you know? And so, yeah, that's her firstborn. That was her golden child, her way out of the hood. Well, not even out of the hood, but, like, out of this whole lifestyle. Like, she was ready to, like, change her life. You know, she was just waiting for him to go to the NBA. And she was about to change everything. So now, I know now she's probably going to come out of this rut that she's in, because now she feels like she did what she had to do. And she's probably going to feel like there's a weight lifted off her chest. So we'll definitely see how this goes. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode down below. If there was anything that you really felt like really stood out to you, or something maybe that I might not have seen or I might have skipped over, because, you know, like, reading the notes and stuff like that, trying to remember certain things. But I'm also be hyped because I be like, ooh. But that was crazy. He was like, I own you. I was like, yes. That part for me was so powerful. Like, I was just like, oh, that was crazy. But thanks so much for watching. Some of y'all said that y'all I saw somebody say that they knew that Lauren was a part of this, that Lauren was not dead when they saw her name in the credits. I'm like, yo, you mad smart right there. That's bright. Cause yeah, why would they put her in the credits? Cause I'm like, yo, she was on this show, she was on another show. I'm like, yo, she's not on none of these shows. Like, when are you coming back to work? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to do something, girl. What you been up to? She was on The Oval, this other show I be watching. But yeah, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.